Keean, Bexte, and Sheila Gunn Reid here in Madrid on our final day of the Climate Alarmist Conference that we've been covering for the past week. We're on our way back to Canada tonight after covering quite a few stories here. What was your favorite, would you say, Sheila?
My favorite, I think, was watching you notice all the things that I normally notice at these conferences that nobody else seems to notice. Because it's been my experience that there are no normal people at this conference. The journalists are true believers. They don't look at anything with a skeptical eye. They don't notice the hypocrisy. And the global elites, they don't notice that they are living one way while expecting the rest of us to live another way. So it was really heartening to see you walk in and you're like, oh, diesel generators, look at that. So you noticed all the things that I've noticed at the other conferences, and I thought that was really great.
It's good to know that the hypocrisy is on repeat. It's not just this one, it's every conference. When the electric car chargers are just vacant the entire time, the diesel generators that they heat their facilities with, they hide. It's not just that they know that they're using fossil fuels to heat their lives, they hide it because they know how hypocritical it is. I think my favorite moment, it was a little bit terrifying actually, it was when the UN volunteer was telling us about his eugenics plan.
Yeah.
That was stunning. He was telling us, and you can see the video right here and see exactly what he said. So the contraceptive medicine, delivering that to people, how does that fix climate change? Does it reduce population really? Is that priority?
There will be less population, so in this way we will contaminate, we will pollute less the atmosphere and the environment. So I think if we're less people, we can manage in a better way.
Is it important to target where the contraceptives go? Like, are there target areas?
Yeah, I think those in developing countries really need rather than developed countries, because here in Spain, for example, anyone or mostly everyone can access to contraceptives. But I think, for example, in countries that show in Africa or in Asia, they don't have that culture, and maybe those products haven't reached Africa. So I think also the governments have to, enhance these initiatives in order to manage their population and also.
Now, he told us he wants to target where contraception is sent, and then he agreed that the UN should force and mandate that consumption of contraceptives. That's called eugenics, ladies and gentlemen, and it's not something to be proud of. It's actually quite terrifying.
Yeah. One of the things I noticed was just the heavy security that the UN has on the perimeter of the complex, and it is a massive complex. I walked the entire way around. There are armed police stationed, and there are checkpoints everywhere. As people are going, they're checking the trunks of their cars. The UN delegates are safely behind this barbed wire fence that they've sort of hidden in places behind a nice hedge. But I thought there was great irony in the fact that the UN is against walls and against guards when it comes to the United States and the state of Israel. But when it comes to protecting their climate warriors, they're all for it.
Yeah, rules for thee, but not for me. That's kind of the slogan of this conference. There's barbed wire, there was mounted police units, there was tanks.
Yeah, we saw tanks, yeah.
It's these folks will talk about how great open borders are all the time until the cows come home, but when it comes to their own safety in a relatively safe country like Spain, well, it's all hands on deck for the United Nations. Now, we wouldn't have been able to do this coverage here if it wasn't for viewers at home in Canada, the United States, around the world really, supporting our coverage because, and I think their support came from the fact that there were no other journalists here that were even a little bit critical or cynical or skeptic of.
Especially from Canada. We did run into some American friends who are sort of the O. Henrys in the swimming pool of the UN. But from Canada, there's literally no one. It is just us.
So it was great to be able to share this angle with people around the world, sharing the side of Greta Thunberg, her hypocritical, plastic-filled, her climate contraband cruiser, the Tesla that we found in Edmonton after she won the Person of the Year award here in Spain, while she was in Spain, over the brave Hong Kongers fighting for freedom over in Hong Kong.
And I want to thank everybody who's donated so far and has shared and enjoyed our content from here on the ground. It's a lot of work to do these things when you're not allowed inside the conference, but I think it's valuable work that nobody else is doing.
Yeah, I think even though we weren't allowed in the conference, I think we did a better job than most of the journalists inside, covering more stories from more angles, more content than pretty much anyone else. So I want to again thank the viewers for being able to be here. It wouldn't have happened without you guys. It means a lot to us, and hopefully it was worth it. I think it was. For Rebel News in Madrid, Spain, I'm Keean Bexte.
And I'm Sheila Gunn Reid.
There we go.
To see all of our work from here on the ground in Madrid covering the United Nations Climate Change Conference, go to rebelun.com, and on that website you can pitch in to cover the cost to send us here. It is sometimes expensive to tell the other side of the story. That's rebelun.com.